The baby monitor showed an open door behind my daughter's bed, but when I went into her room, there was only a wall. I had fallen asleep on the sofa with the receiver on my chest. It was just after 1 in the morning. The house was quiet except for the monitor's low hiss and the refrigerator cycling in the kitchen. On the screen, Nora lay on her side beneath the glow-in-the-dark stars we had made that afternoon. Behind the head of her bed was an open doorway. There had never been a doorway there. I crossed the hall and entered her room. The wall behind her bed was smooth, pale blue plaster. The same crooked paper star sat above her pillow. The receiver still showed the doorway less than a meter from where I stood, with a narrow yellow room beyond it. The monitor made its usual double click as the night vision adjusted. Nora opened her eyes and turned toward the wall. "Dad? I'm here. Can you close it?" I moved beside the bed. "Close what?" She pointed at the plaster. On the receiver, she was pointing through the open doorway. I peeled off the crooked red star. Nora had called it Dad's star because I had cut 1 point shorter than the others. Holding the receiver in one hand, I pressed the star against the place where the screen showed the opening. My fingers met solid plaster. On the monitor, my hand continued through the doorway. The star slipped from my fingertips and landed on the rug inside the yellow room. I pulled my hand back. The paper was gone. The back of my fingers were cold and wet. Nora sat up. "Why did you take Mum's star? You called it Dad's star." She frowned at me. "Mum made them." "We made them this afternoon." "No, Mum did." Claire had not been in the house. Nora looked at me with the wary expression children use when an adult insists on something obviously untrue. I switched the monitor off. The screen went black. Nora watched the wall for several seconds, then lay down again. She had been sleepwalking since the separation, which was why Claire insisted we use the old video monitor for Nora's first overnight with me. We had spent 3 weeks arranging it. Claire had asked me to promise I would not turn the visit into proof that Nora belonged back in the house, or that the 3 of us could simply resume where we stopped. I had promised. At 1:14, I should have woken Nora, wrapped her in a blanket, and found some way outside. Instead, I turned the monitor back on so I could photograph the doorway and show Claire I was not inventing it. The receiver lit. The doorway returned. The double click sounded again. A vertical crack appeared in the plaster behind Nora's bed. At the same moment, something struck the front of the house. I ran into the hall. The front door had moved closer. The dining room opening should have been halfway between Nora's room and the entry. It was still there, but the stretch of hallway beyond it had shortened by nearly 2 meters. The front door now stood where the coat cupboard had been. I opened it. It led back into Nora's bedroom. Nora stared at me through the doorway. When she turned toward the normal bedroom entrance, she could see the same hallway from both sides of the room. I shut the door. The house had changed to match the feed. I called Claire. She answered on the 4th ring. "What happened?" "Nora is safe. I need you to come here." "Why?" "The monitor is changing the house." She was silent for half a second. "Turn it off and take Nora outside." I did turn it off. The changes stayed. Then break a window. The front door opens into her room. The kitchen window opens onto the same wall. Evan, what did you do? I looked at the crack behind Nora's bed. I switched it back on. Claire arrived 20 minutes later and came through the laundry door because the front entrance no longer reached outside. She did not ask for a full explanation. She checked Nora, took the receiver from me, and walked to the bedroom. The feed showed me standing beside solid plaster. On the screen, the open doorway cut across the wall beside me. Claire looked from the receiver to the room. The monitor double-clicked. The crack lengthened from ceiling to skirting. "We're leaving," she said. "The laundry door brought you in. It still opens outside." She carried Nora down the hall. Claire kept the receiver. I followed with the camera unit under one arm. The laundry door opened onto Nora's room. Claire tried the kitchen window. Pale blue plaster stood at hand's width beyond the glass. She put Nora down and faced me. "Switch it off." I did. The receiver went black. Nothing returned. Claire crouched in front of Nora. "Do you remember making the stars?" "With Mum." Claire looked at me. "The red one passed through the wall," I said. Then she forgot. "We are done testing. I need to know whether it only takes objects." "No. You want to understand it because you think understanding means control. If it moves another room while we're standing in the wrong place, one of us could be sealed inside." Claire looked toward the dining room. The table was visible through the opening. Nora's paper crown from her 5th birthday still sat in a box on the sideboard because I had never sorted it. "We test one empty part of the house," she said, "somewhere away from Nora. The monitor stays off." I placed the camera on the sideboard and switched it to backup power. Claire held the receiver in the hall with Nora beside her. I stood at the dining table. "Her 5th birthday was here," I said. "Rabbit cake, paper crown." Claire nodded. "I remember." I aimed the camera slowly toward the table. On the receiver, the open doorway slid across the wall until the table appeared inside the yellow room. The floor dipped. My hand was resting on the table edge. The timber softened beneath my palm, became translucent, and vanished. The monitor double-clicked. The room narrowed around me. I jumped through the dining room opening as it contracted. The walls met behind my back, sealing into smooth plaster. The table was gone. The front hall was shorter again. I found a birthday photograph on my phone and held it out to Claire. Nora wore the paper crown. Claire stood behind her with icing on her wrist. Claire studied the image. "I know that's me," she said. "You don't remember the party?" "No." Nora looked at the photo. "That was at Nan's." Claire's hand tightened around the receiver. The star had crossed with the image while Nora remained outside it. On the screen, my hand had gone through the threshold with the paper. The dining room had worked the same way. I remembered the birthday because I had been standing inside the space when it got moved. Claire and Nora had been left behind. A brass shape pressed outward beneath the plaster in Nora's room. A door handle. It turned once. Nora stepped toward it. Claire caught her shoulder. "Stay with me." The plaster folded inward along a clean rectangle. The door opened. Beyond it was Nora's room as it had looked before Claire moved out. Lower bed, old curtains, toys we had boxed away. Nora smiled. "That's where you both live." Claire pulled her back. The receiver flickered. For one frame, Nora appeared beyond the threshold. Then she slipped from Claire's hand and crossed. I lunged after her. Before the doorway closed, I tore the battery-powered camera from the shelf and carried it through. Claire shouted my name from behind me. The wall sealed. The place around Nora was assembled from pieces of our house without the spaces that had once connected them. Half the dining room ended at the foot of her old bed. The kitchen floor rose at an angle into a hallway. Claire's mother's chair stood beneath the ceiling light from the laundry. The crooked red star lay on the nearest threshold. The camera's talkback speaker crackled. "Evan, can you hear me?" "I hear you." Claire held down the talk button so her side stayed open. Her breathing and the faint sounds of the remaining house came through the camera speaker. "I can see both of you," she said. The floor beneath Nora's shoes softened when the image shifted away from us. The walls blurred at their edges. When Claire centered us on the receiver again, the room became firm. "Keep the receiver on us," I said. "What happens if I look away?" "I don't know." A section of floor sagged beneath my foot. "Do not find out." I held Nora's wrist and carried the camera ahead. Whatever Claire watched became solid around us. Each time I aimed at another fragment of the hidden house, something disappeared on her side. I pointed the lens down a tilted section of kitchen. A cabinet beside us became solid. A crash sounded from the receiver on Claire's side. "The cabinet is gone here," she said through the camera speaker. We moved on. Nora stopped beside a section of wall covered in pencil marks. Her height had been recorded there each birthday. The lowest line was dated when she turned 3. The highest had been drawn 2 months before Claire moved out. "I remember this," Nora said. A dry tearing sound came through the camera speaker. "What disappeared?" I asked. A pause. "The wall beside the kitchen." "Do you remember measuring her there?" Claire did not answer immediately. "I remember the marks. I don't remember making them." Nora touched the highest line. "Dad did that one." I still remember drawing the line. Claire did not. I pulled Nora away before the wall could become any more solid. "Only watch the floor in front of us," I said. "Nothing else." "I'm not moving the receiver." "I'm moving the camera." We crossed the angled kitchen. Family photographs hung along the next corridor. but the rooms behind us were wrong in every one. In one picture, Claire stood alone at Nora's birthday. In another, I was missing. A third showed an empty chair between us. Nora looked too long at that one. Was I there? Yes. Are you sure? I turned the camera away from the photographs. The corridor narrowed until the walls brushed my shoulders. A door stood at the far end. Nora pointed. That's your room. It opened into the master bedroom. Everything was positioned as it had been on the night Claire left. The quilt dragged partly off the bed. Her suitcase lay open on the floor. One of my shoes rested on its side near the wardrobe. Her coat was spread across the foot of the mattress. I remembered the argument. Claire had told me she was tired of living inside decisions I made, and explained later. I told her she was turning one bad year into a permanent judgment. She said I only listened when consequences were already happening. The camera speaker crackled. Why is that room there? You remember it? Yes. The far door of the bedroom stood open. Beyond it was our original front entry. Coat hooks, stained skirting, narrow glass panel. Outside darkness. Nora pulled toward it. The floor beneath her foot thinned. She sank to the ankle. Claire had shifted the receiver away from us. I'm here, she said quickly. The boards returned when she centered the image. There's another room here, Claire said. The real bedroom. The door is bending inward. The hidden bedroom was still only provisional. If Claire watched us cross it, the monitor would take the real room and make this one solid. She understood before I said it. No. Nora can't stay here. Turn the camera off. The floor is going. Come back. There is no back. Then wait while I find another route. Nora sank to her knees. I pulled her up, but the floor stretched under us like damp fabric. Evan, do not use that room. The only path to the front door ran through the memory of Claire leaving. If the monitor took it, I would keep the truth because I was inside. Claire would lose it because she was outside. I aimed the camera toward the far door. Don't, she said. I'm sorry. That is what you said before. Claire's receiver slipped. The image tilted away from us. The bedroom floor opened beneath Nora's feet. Claire grabbed the receiver from the ground and centered Nora in the frame. I'm watching, she said. Get her out. I stepped into the bedroom. The monitor double-clicked. Through the camera speaker, I heard the real bedroom collapsing on Claire's side. The door there sank into the wall. Inside the hidden room, the bed slid sideways. The suitcase snapped shut. The floor extended toward the front entry. Claire kept watching. Her side stayed open through the talk button. Plaster broke somewhere near her. Timber scraped across tile. Nora's wardrobe struck something and fell. What is left around you? I asked. The hall. Part of the kitchen. Her room. Can you reach the laundry? There is no laundry door now. Nora pressed her face against my shoulder. Mum's by herself. I know. Go back for her. Claire heard that. "You are not coming back," she said. "You take her outside and stay where I can see you." Her voice was steady, but the image shook in time with her hands. I carried Nora across the room. The photos along the hall lost their dates first. Then the furniture behind us faded. Claire's coat vanished from the bed as we passed it. The front door became solid beneath my hand. I pushed Nora through. She landed on the physical hallway floor beside Claire. I followed as the hidden house folded behind me, with the sound of several doors closing at once. The blue wall returned. The doorway was gone. The camera struck the floor beside me. Its lens was wet. The red power light stayed on, though the receiver had gone black. Claire dropped to her knees and held Nora against her. For a moment, the three of us remained on the floor. Then Claire looked at me. Why were we living apart? I could still hear the real bedroom collapsing in my head. Claire searched my face. "I know we were having problems," she said. "Why did I leave?" "There was an argument." "What argument?" "In the bedroom." She looked toward the blank wall where the room had been. "What did I say?" Nora wrapped one arm around Claire and the other around me. "We can all stay together," she said. The dining room and master bedroom were gone. Several doors opened onto plaster recesses no deeper than my hand. The house was smaller inside than outside. Claire began crying. "I'm sorry," she said. "I don't know why I made it so final. I told her it had not happened that way." She asked me to explain. Nora tightened her arms around us. I said nothing. We stayed at Claire's apartment while the old house was closed. A building inspector measured the place once, stood in the shortened hall for less than a minute, and refused to return. The camera would not pair when I tested it, but some nights the receiver lit by itself and showed a narrow strip of yellow carpet. I kept both devices wrapped in a towel in the boot of my car. Claire became warmer toward me over the following weeks. She spoke about the separation as a temporary mistake. She began leaving clothes for me at the apartment and discussing whether the house could be repaired. I retained the night she left in complete detail. She had retained only the feeling that she had abandoned us without a good reason. I never corrected that imbalance again. 3 weeks later, Nora started sleepwalking. Claire called and asked whether I still had the monitor. It was still in the boot of my car, wrapped in a towel. I could have told her it broke. I could have bought another one. Instead, I carried the same camera into Nora's apartment bedroom because Claire had started touching my arm when she spoke to me, and because a part of me wanted to see what else the house might return. The bedroom had one window, one wardrobe, and a solid wall behind the bed. I mounted the camera on a shelf and paired the receiver. This time, it connected immediately. The feed was normal. Claire stood beside me, her shoulder against mine. "Maybe this is good," she said. "What is?" "Us being here again." The monitor double-clicked. Nothing changed. That night, I slept on Claire's sofa. In the morning, Nora called us into the hall. She was holding the receiver in both hands. Its screen showed the master bedroom beyond an open doorway. Behind her, the linen closet door stood open in the same position. The shelves were gone. The master bedroom from the old house occupied the space behind it, complete down to Claire's open suitcase and the coat across the bed. "I woke up when it clicked," Nora said. "I kept watching because I thought you'd both come back." Claire stepped past me. "There it is," she said. She sounded relieved. She carried her pillow into the room and placed it on the side of the bed she used to sleep on. Then she turned to me and held out her hand. Nora stood between us in the hallway, still holding the receiver, watching as if she had been waiting for this part. I looked past Claire at the open suitcase. The clothes inside were the ones she had packed on the night she left. On top of them lay the crooked red paper star. Claire followed my eyes. "Did Nora make that?" she asked. I could have told her. Behind her, the door began closing. I took her hand before it shut.